Go.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Peter Weiler. I will be your host for the DVMUG Zoom meeting for August 13th, 2024. Our meeting will proceed in the usual way. We will start with some Apple news. There was a little bit this week. And after that, we'll get to some videos, which we hope you will enjoy. We won't be showing a large number of videos or taking a lot of time with them in order to give you a chance to do questions and answers, and at the end of the meeting have some socialization. So by the way, Rick Kalkura will be making an announcement after the news. Don't miss it. Let's get started. This week's news. As usual, there are PDF files for the news for this meeting, as well as for the videos, two of them. Both of them are available at the DVMUG BBS in the DVMUG folder, but you can also catch them in the chat for this Zoom meeting. John Sobrero has been kind enough to put them in there for you. Let's go ahead and get started. The first news item, as you can see, is IDs in Apple's wallet are expected to come to these states soon. And I need to let you know that the actual title to this article was IDs in Apple Wallet expected to come to these two states soon. But the article speaks about three states. So that's that's why I changed it. At any rate, we're hoping that California might incorporate this. And in fact, California is one of the three. Prior to this week, there had only been 5 states that had signed on. And that's the last one being Ohio, joining Arizona, Colorado, Georgia, and Maryland. So that's 10% of our country as far as states go. But now California is expected to be joining as well. And Tennessee and Iowa also are piloting technology that would work with Apple Wallet, but they haven't committed to when they will launch. And as a caveat, most states, including Ohio, still require people to continue carrying their physical driver's license or ID card, even when they have the mobile ID on their iPhone. So there we go. Are there any comments or questions?
That's really interesting because I don't know how many of you have set up the California DMV wallet, which is a totally separate wallet. I have. It's kind of a big process because there's a lot of proof of identity checks, and then you have to update it periodically. And as far as I know, nobody accepts it, or at least let me put it this way: the only place I've tried to use it is at CVS when picking up a restricted prescription, and they won't accept the digital wallet. It gives you a QR code they can scan, but they say nope.
Yeah. On Kenji's suggestion, or when Kenji mentioned this last week, I signed up for it. And yeah, they do have their own wallet. And it's kind of a three-way view. One, it gives it copies your, doesn't copy, it accesses DMV's records and brings up your photograph. And interestingly, it's called the California DMV wallet. And it also says mobile driver's license ID issued by California DMV. Then there's a button that you can tap that says share my mobile driver's license. And it brings up, I don't know, you can't see my video.
Yes, we can. We can. Yes.
you can see this little QR code here. And I think it's a matter of time till this becomes legal for us.
There's also another option there where it says share my age, and that links to another process separate from that wallet, apparently, or an optional thing, and where you have to opt in to be able to display your age, which I guess you'd use for going in a bar, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty neat.
None of these will be of any value unless the FAA and the airlines accept them.
Correct. One of the qualifications, though, for this, for me, it wanted a photo of my passport, which I gave them. And then they verified it, apparently, because it took a little while. And then it came back and said, you've been approved.
It's going to take a while for this all to sort out. I think Android is also working on a digital wallet kind of concept. But the iPhones and the Android phones are probably the places most people will be most comfortable using the technology if it becomes acceptable.
Having set up this whole verification process, it's hard to imagine the DMV is just going to turn that over to Apple. So maybe you have to still go through their whole verification process, and then they'll allow you to then put the final result in the Apple Wallet.
I don't think that's what it's involved. It's like Visa doesn't turn over their process to Apple, but you can put their card on your wallet.
True.
And
well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Maybe you'd still have to go through the DMV verification process before it could go in the wallet.
Perhaps.
Yeah. And it might just be that they'll find a way that they can work with the Apple technology and the Android technology, but we'll see. Anything else on this news item? Okay, moving on. We have two more of these items. And here's one for you, 1Password for Mac users. I've been using 1Password for many years, so this applied to me. There was a security issue for 1Password where credentials were left vulnerable to attack. Now, it wasn't exactly a breach. So what happened was an independent security assessment was made by a third-party organization, a legitimate one. And as far as anyone knows, no evildoers have attempted to exploit this out on the net. And 1Password was quick to make an update. So if you do use 1Password, be sure that you update. You need to be at 8.10, let's say 8.1.0, 0.3.6 or higher. And in fact, the number has gotten higher now. So as with everything else, it's important to update.
The current version is 8.10.40. I just checked for an update now, and there was one. I had 0.39, and there's a 0.40.
Are there any other questions or comments? Okay. However, if you use 1Password, be sure that you have updated since, July. And this is the last of the news items that I've collected, and it's a rumor. And in fact, this article was by Hartley Charlton of Mac Rumors, but it is elsewhere on the web. There is an M4 Mac Mini in the near future, actually, that will become the smallest of Apple's computers ever. And that's of interest because the Mac Mini has retained its footprint, its size for 14 years, which is a remarkably long time for a design to sustain in this era of chips and computers. So the one that's coming down the pipe is a Mac Mini with M4 or M4 Pro chips. And the base model is going to be shipping, according to the article, by the end of this month, which is pretty remarkable. The Pro model later in the year, probably by October. So at any rate, if, and this was what I was writing, not the article, but if you find yourself challenged for deck space, I should say desk space, perhaps this smaller Mac Mini might be just what you need. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah,
There are some PCs that are like little tiny, like that big,
Yeah.
out there. So I'm wondering if this is going to be something like that. And it strikes me as this would be useful, maybe not so much because of deck space, because who has too little desk space for a Mac Mini? But but it could be used in many other places.
Mhm.
It's the current size of the Mac Mini. You can't tell it from a 14-year-old model. It looks the same, except there's no CD slot. And so there's not much in it anymore. There's no CD, there's no spinning hard drive, there's no, there's basically just the chip. So it's kind of a waste. So the rumor is it's going to be this more on the form factor of the Apple TV. And the Intel ones are called NUCs, I think. So
So will we lose connections on that? Would be like,
well, there's not that many connections on the Mac Mini. There's some USB-C, some USB-A, an HDMI port, and the power plug and the sound jack. So they could easily put all those on there.
4 ports.
Power cord. And the main thing is, what about the power supply? Well, the power supply is currently inside the Mini. And so they need some power. So will they make an external power supply, or I don't know.
does the current Mini have a fan?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I have a recent vintage Mini, and it doesn't have a fan. So they keep it cool through other ways. And I actually bought a device from OWC, which has the same square form, and the Mac Mini sits on top of it, and it provides me with a lot more connectivity.
Yeah, you can see
Uh,
right there what they look like. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them in one stock.
5 minis, huh?
Yeah, 5 minutes sitting right. 1, 2, 3, 4. The bottom one is the newest one, and it's space gray. It's not silver. That's the only difference. Otherwise, you can't tell. They all look the same. That's why I had to label them. I tell which one's which.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop the sharing for a little time so that Rick can share some news about what's happening this Saturday.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I don't know if my video on.
Let's see, where's the stop share? Oh, here it is.
There we go. Yeah, anyway, thanks, Peter. And I'll be brief, but we're going to repeat our live in-person SIG again on Saturday for iOS Boot Camp. We're going to deal with just one subject. We're not going to flood you with a bunch of technical babble. There will probably not even be any videos. We're just going to have Mike Dickerson, who's going to lead the SIG, will spend the 2 hours or an hour or so and then take questions so that everybody for sure will be completely comfortable with all this. It'll be all the ins and outs of using the camera. I've seen him do this presentation before, and believe me, I learned stuff that I had no idea that the camera did or was built into the iPhone. So the SIG is going to be at the club office, 396 Civic Drive, this Saturday morning from 10 o'clock till noon. And if we have to go over at noon, we can for questions and answers. But I expect that everybody's going to be ready for lunch at noon, and you're going to certainly leave with a lot more knowledge than you had when you got there. We're also going to attempt to simultaneously Zoom the SIG. Now, that sounds like a big deal to me, but Mike says he's done it this way many times. So we're going to put that SIG up on Zoom, and you can use your regular DVMUG credentials to log in. So overlook some of our technical errors because it's the first time that we've done a hybrid meeting. But we'll see you on Saturday morning at 10. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, what will be the link to the Zoom?
The standard DVMUG credentials.
Okay.
There was a link. It's the same link as for this meeting. It's the same
Yeah,
link
the
for the last 4 years. And
the
I'm going to send out
838.
I'll send out a MailChimp on Friday morning with the meeting. It says, here's the meeting, here's the link. So you'll get a day in advance warning. It was in Sunday's MailChimp also.
Okay, any other questions? Then I yield the floor back to Peter. Thank you, Peter, for the time.
I would suggest if you're interested in coming to live meeting, you should show up because we only had 4 people last month. And if we only get 4 people this time, we'll probably only do it via Zoom in the future.
If we do that.
Right. I'm wondering, we'll see how many people show up via Zoom.
Yeah. So yeah, but attendance is going to be critical as to whether the SIG will continue or not. Okay, so thanks, Peter.
Okay, thank you. I will share screen.
Are you going to institute any COVID mandates?
If you're
I won't mandate anybody wear a mask, but we're all old and we're all vulnerable. I've been wearing masks when I go shopping and such. So the place is air conditioned, the air is filtered, and there's good circulation. But if you want to wear a mask, we're not going to laugh at you.
There's a current surge. It's gone up.
There certainly is.
Yes.
And the
It's
new
true.
shot is not available yet.
Thanks, Rick.
Mhm.
Thank you, Rick. So let's move on to this week's videos, which should be, the videos altogether are going to run about 25 minutes or so, depending upon how much feed or comments or questions. If there's time, I have a bonus type video. Otherwise, we'll move on to questions and answers, but we'll get to it soon. So here is the PDF for the videos. And as you can see, we're starting with Gary Rosenzweig, MacMost, on reducing photo size for mail. And, the iPhone camera is a remarkable tool. And over the years, its resolution has gotten better and better. And now you can have telephoto. My iPhone 14 has 3 times telephoto. The 15, 5 times? And the other piece to having high resolution is that the file sizes get much larger. And that becomes an issue when you want to mail them with email or whatever. And that's what Gary's going to talk about. So let's get started.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. let me show you different ways that you can make your photo files smaller before sending them to somebody over email. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 2,000 supporters. Go to macmost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. Now if you're going to send somebody an email message with a photo in it, you may not want to send them the full-sized file. They can be quite big, and if you want to send a few of them, it's easy to have a huge email that they may not even be able to get because of restrictions on how big messages can be for them. Now the first way I'm going to show you is by using the Mail app on your Mac, which makes it really easy if you don't care about the specifics. So for instance, I have an image here selected in the Photos app. Now let's say I want to send it by mail. Now I could start sending it many different ways. For instance, I could drag and drop this into a mail composition window. I can click the share button here and select mail, for instance. Either way I do it, I'm going to end up with a composition window here, and then the photo is going to be in here. Now automatically Mail will compress this image. It's not going to send the original image. If I go back to Photos and I look at this image here, get info on it, I can see that it's 1.6 megs in size, which isn't that bad. It's a JPEG photo. So let's see what it is in Mail. In Mail it's actually smaller. You can see it tells you here at the top message size is 641K. So it's compressing the photo. If you look carefully to the right here, you're going to see image size, and you can choose small, medium, or large. It's very important to pay attention to which one you choose. It's going to remember for the next time as well. So for instance, if I choose to send a small image, and you can see how much smaller it is, and you can see that file size is now 47K, well the next time it's also going to send a small image, which may not be good if say it's a screenshot. You'd barely be able to read the text on it. So you want to choose what's appropriate for whatever it is you're sending. Like medium might be fine here if I just want to show somebody a photo. But if I want them to have a nice high resolution version, then large is probably best. But maybe this is a photo that includes them in it, and I know they're going to want to save it in their Photos app and keep it. Then I might want to choose actual size. And here it won't compress the image at all. It's going to be 1.6 megs just like it is in Photos. So you can see here our Mail gives you a really easy way to make the photo smaller. And it works for multiple images as well. So for instance, if I choose a series of 5 images here, and I go to send those by mail, then I'm going to see all 5 images here in the message, and you can see how the total is 8.9 megs. That's actual size. If I go to large, you can see it gets much smaller, medium, even smaller than that. So now the message is something easier for the person to handle on the other end. It's just very important that you check that every time. Even if you don't want to use that method, Mail is always going to have small, medium, and large and actual size there, provided the image is large enough to even use large or medium. And if you don't look carefully, you may end up sending a small image when you really wanted to send, say, a large one. Now you may get a slightly different result if you copy and paste. For instance, I have this image here selected, and if I copy it, I'm actually not going to get as high resolution of an image as if I were to export it. So for instance, if I now paste this in Mail, you could see that I get actual size, medium, and small. I don't actually get a large option. The actual size image is 451K. Medium will take that down to 167. So it's actually already compressing it just by doing the copy. On the other hand, I could export. So when I want to export, say, this image here, I have different options. I can go to File and then Export, and I can export one photo. And when I do, I can pick the size, and I get small, medium, large, and full size just like before. I can also choose Custom and actually set a specific width or height or full dimensions for it. So let's go to, say, full size here. And I can also pick quality. So I go to maximum quality, high, which will be almost as good, but it will compress it a bit. Medium will compress it more, a low will compress it a lot more and save you some space, but you'll lose quality. So let's stick with high and full size. And if I export here and put it on the desktop, I'll get this one here. I'll just name it Pick 1. But let's go and export the same one. And this time I'm actually going to reduce the size to, say, large and the quality to, say, medium. So now when I export, you can see I get the second picture here. Get info on this first picture and you can see it's 1.6 megs. The second one here, that's only 366K. So now I not only have control of the size but also the quality, which allow me to compress it more. So now I can simply drag and drop this file into the Mail app. And watch carefully. When I do this one, you can see it brings it in. I still have image size, small, medium, large, or actual size. You can see actual size gives me the size of this photo. It's just going to actually attach this image. But if I choose one of these other ones, it's going to recompress it. And actually, in this case, recompressing it to large size makes the file a little bit bigger, so you have to watch out for that. But small or medium will actually make it even smaller. But there was no point to exporting at a specific size unless I'm going to actually attach it at actual size and get the compression level and size that I chose. Now, another thing you may want to do is consider cropping a photo to save space. Like for instance, if you want to crop this in a little bit closer, you can make it much smaller. So I'm going to go in Photos to Edit and choose Crop. And then I'm going to bring the corners in and I'm going to crop it, maybe take out some of the bottom there. I can actually choose the different aspects here, so I can have it be original, or I'm going to do freeform, so I can get rid of a lot of this bottom here. And I can make it something, say, like this. And now it's going to actually be using less of the photo. I can click Done here. And now when I go to send this one, and let's actually send it this way, you can see here the size, the actual size, is smaller. It's because there are fewer pixels involved. I've cropped out a lot of the photo. And back in the Photos app, you don't have to worry about the cropping being permanent, because it's not. Go back into Edit and you can always revert to original and get back all that's there. The original is always saved. So you can basically crop it temporarily, send it over to Mail, and then revert to original back in the Photos app. Now, another thing you could do is you can use Preview to take care of all of these things. So I've got this image selected here, and I can go to Image and then Edit With, and I can choose an external editor. So of course, if you've got something like Pixelmator Pro or Affinity Photo, you can actually bring the photo into there and you can crop it, you can resize it, you can press it and all that. I'm just going to use Preview because we all have Preview. So once you bring it into Preview, first thing you might want to do is crop it. So I'm going to select an area just by dragging out a rectangle like that. And I can reposition the rectangle, and then I can go to Tools and then Crop. So now I've cropped it. Now I can go to Tools and adjust size. And here I can set the width and height, and I can say make this 1,000 pixels wide. And OK. And then when I go to File, Export, I can now go in and actually set a quality amount. I can see an estimate of the file size. So now I can export this as a file after cropping, resizing, and setting a quality level. And remember, since you're editing it in an external editor, it's going to actually change it in the Photos app too, but you can just go to Image and revert to Original and then get the original back. You can do that right afterwards, or if you forget, you can do it later on. So then here I've got the new image and I can look at it and you can see it's pretty small. I can preview it. You can see it's still pretty decent. And now I can attach that to a mail message. Like before, I want to make sure that I check the image size. You can see here it doesn't even offer large as an option because there's just not enough pixels there. But if I had it set to medium, it'll make it even smaller, or small will make it really tiny. So I want to make sure I use actual size since I've taken care of compressing it myself in Preview. And the great thing about using Preview for this is that you can do it with images that are not even in the Photos app. So if you have images just as files, you can open them up in Preview, do the crop, do the resize, export with a different quality level, and now you can send that image along in a mail message. Of course, the advantage is doing it in the Photos app, just simply using File, Export, and then export the photos like this, is that if I have several photos selected, like I have 5 here, I'm sending the quality and the size for all of them at once. So I can now export these images all at a smaller size, easily attach them all. Whereas with Preview, you'd have to do them one by one, but some third-party apps do have batch processing available, so you can resize and compress a bunch of image files at the same time. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know.
Right.
So just to confirm, he said that if you use an external editor, the changes you make in that external editor are saved in Photos. Is that what he said?
Well, he said you can go back to the original.
You can go back to, yeah, he did say that. But until you go back to the original, whatever you did in the external editor is those changes are saved in Photos, which is interesting.
Was an awful lot of information.
It is. I'd need to listen to it again to.
Me too.
But I know that if I'm working and I tend to work in Photoshop, an external editor, I can save that wherever I want. It's not necessarily going to end up in Photos.
So Photos probably doesn't save that then.
And I'm not even sure because I archive my photos in a different way. I don't use Photos. Anyone else?
It was
Okay.
interesting that he mentioned that he also uses Affinity Photo.
I hadn't heard of that one before.
I've got the whole Affinity thing, but I haven't figured out how to use any of it. They say it's a Photoshop killer. I don't know.
Yeah.
So when he referred to photos from the outside, I think he was indicating that you can import photos from another software and actually reduce the size and quality, manipulate the photos. That's what I got out of it.
Within the Photos app, is that right?
Or I believe preview.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
So Rick, have you checked out the learning portal on the Affinity website?
Rick's mic is off.
Is he muted?
Yeah, I walked away for a moment. I didn't hear your question.
I said,
I'm watching my pot roast.
Oh, pot roast, yum. You just got my
I'll be
juice
right over.
flowing.
Yeah.
No, I said you're aware of the learning portal on the Affinity website.
Yeah, it's my problem is, and I found a bunch of tutorials. It's just that I don't seem to have the time to sit down and spend an hour to do it. But it's beautiful looking software, and boy, I know some graphic artists who swear by it and love the fact that you own it. No monthly rental charges.
Yeah.
So I'll get to it one of these days.
Yeah, I'm definitely better at buying software than learning it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had a deal a couple months or two ago where it's free for 6 months and then it's half price or something.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a deal, yes.
And it's not some unknown company. They've been very big in Europe and in the PC market for a long time. When I was emulating PCs on my Mac, I had some of their software, their earlier software for page layout stuff, which was like the old Adobe PageMaker. It was really nice.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next video by Ellen Sweeney, and she's tackling notifications. iMessage notifications, sometimes they just don't seem to work right on the iPhone, and she's giving some recommendations for how to fix that. So let's go have a look.
Boy, why isn't Carol here for this one?
Yeah, where's Carol?
Yeah.
Okay.
Too bad for Carol.
We rely on notifications when it comes to the messages we receive. It can be very frustrating when your iMessage notifications from family, friends, or your doctor's office aren't working on your iPhone. In this video, I'll cover several quick fixes that may solve your problem. Welcome to Ellen's Tips for iOS, where I help seniors master their iPhones and iPads. If you find the video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. The first thing we'll want to do is check to be sure that iMessage is enabled in the Settings app. This may be turned off if you recently transferred your data to a new iPhone or performed a factory reset of your device. So what we'll want to do is we'll want to open up the Settings app. You'll want to scroll down until you see Messages. Then you'll want to look at iMessage and be sure that the toggle switch is turned on next to iMessage. The next option is to force quit the Messages app. Force quitting an app and opening it again can fix a bug or glitch that causes iMessage to malfunction. To do this, you'll want to swipe up from the bottom of your screen to enter into the app switcher. Locate the Messages app, and once you locate it, all you need to do is swipe it up and away, and then tap out of the app switcher and reopen the Messages app and wait to see if notifications have been fixed. If that doesn't fix it, the next option will check to see if the iPhone is on silent or focus mode. So placing the iPhone in silent mode automatically turns off sounds and audio, which may be why you're not hearing the audio notifications for Messages. So to be sure the mute switch isn't enabled, look at the left side of your iPhone. If you can see orange where the switch is located, you're in silent mode. Push the switch up to disable it. If you have an iPhone with an action button, such as the iPhone 15 Pro, you'll push and hold on the silent button or the action button, and this will either turn the silent mode on or off. So if you enable it, which I just did, push and hold on that button again, and you'll see that we've just disabled silent mode. Wait and see if that fixes your notifications. If you have focus mode enabled or do not disturb, this will silence your notifications, so check your device to make sure you aren't using any focus modes to disable notification. You can swipe down from the upper right corner of your screen, check to see if a focus mode or do not disturb is enabled, and as you can see, mine is enabled. All I need to do to disable it is tap on it, and now hopefully your notifications will be fixed. Now, if we still don't have notifications working, the next step is let's check the notification settings in Messages in case you accidentally turned it off. So what we'll need to do is open the Settings app, scroll and tap on Notifications. Now we're going to scroll until we see Messages. Once we locate Messages, tap on that. And be sure that you have Allow Notifications toggled on, Critical Alerts toggled on, and Time-Sensitive Notifications turned on. Now you can place a check mark under Lock Screen, Notification, and Banners. And now we wait until we see whether notifications have been fixed. If you aren't receiving notifications from a specific contact, check to see if their individual notification alerts are disabled. So we open the Messages app, and I'm already in a conversation that I tapped on. I'll want to now tap on the individual's name at the top, and be sure then that the toggle switch next to Hide Alerts is turned off. Maybe you have muted a conversation but still want to be alerted when you get a mention. You can enable Notify Me, and to do that, you'll open the Settings app, you'll locate Messages, scroll down until you see Notify Me. And then when this is on, you will be notified when your name is mentioned in a conversation, even if you've muted that conversation. If by chance you have turned on Filter Unknown Senders, This will block unknown numbers from sending you messages. If the number isn't in your contacts list, they won't get through. The problem is someone you know may use a different number or have changed their number and you forgot to add it to your device. So if you have this turned on, to turn this feature off or to locate it, you'll go ahead and you'll open the Settings app. You'll locate Messages, scroll down until you see Unknown and Spam, and just be sure that you've toggled that switch off or you've added the contact to your contacts list. If you've set up a custom text tone and you're not receiving notifications from that contact, it's possible you set the contact's custom text tone to none. So what we'll want to do is we'll want to open up the contacts list or contacts app, locate the individual that you've set up that custom text tone for, tap on Edit in the upper right corner, scroll down until you see text tone. Be sure it doesn't say none. If it says none, tap on it and then choose a text tone. I'm going to choose the default and then tap on done and see if that makes the difference. We're down to our last option, reset all settings on your iPhone. If none of the above fixes work, resetting all settings might help. This will wipe out all your settings, including your Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and VPN, but all of your personal data will remain. So to reset all settings, you'll want to open the Settings app, tap on General, scroll to the bottom, tap on Transfer or Reset iPhone, tap on Reset. Now you'll choose Reset All Settings. You'll need to enter in your passcode. Go ahead and follow through with that. And then you'll just need to add in your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi settings. Give that a try and see if that finally fixes your notifications. In most cases, iMessage notifications aren't working due to an incorrect setting related to muting specific conversations. Fortunately, iPhone lets you mute or hide alerts for some conversations while keeping others active. Hopefully, one of the solutions covered fixes your problem. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Well, a lot of good information in that one.
He's
So
good.
many things to go wrong.
He's so good.
Yeah, it's sort of overwhelming trying to keep track of all that she was saying, but I think just when you end up having some kind of notification issue, knowing that, that might have been discussed in this particular video, you can go back and check it out.
Well, Peter, email that link to Carol. Email the video to Carol.
Yeah, several of the suggestions towards the end of that video about individual contacts, I'd be willing to bet money that one of those is what caused Carol's problems.
I personally would hope so, because I would learn to live without notifications till I got to if I had to reset all the very final
Total.
destination.
Yes.
I would just live without it.
Well, that's default.
And I'm kind of curious why she didn't just say, just reboot your phone.
Yeah, she didn't.
Well, rebooting the phone wouldn't reset the settings.
No,
She didn't give that as an option to try rebooting. You're right.
But I always throw it in there. I said, trust me, if you call Apple, that's the first thing they're going to have you do. So
Yeah,
let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
That's what we do. First thing we do is reboot.
But I reset all settings. Yeah, I
Yeah.
live without it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that
You'd
not
probably be
just
cursing that suggestion for weeks or months after you
Yeah.
did it.
Why isn't this
Yeah.
working? Oh yeah, I reset all my settings. I go back and reset that. Like I said, I'd live without it.
Yeah.
Or get a
Welcome.
new phone. Use it for an excuse to get a new phone. You're not getting notifications.
Yeah, well, welcome to the meeting, Mike. We actually had Rick gave a little blurb on your Saturday workshop, so we're
Oh, okay.
looking
What,
forward
what
to.
did, what did he commit me to?
He committed you to an amazing
Correct.
hybrid experience.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. I'm into hybrids. What the hell?
Right, with the iPhone camera.
Okay, we can do that. Good. I hope to see a lot of people there, either in person or on Zoom. I'm sorry I'm late. I was on a Zoom meeting with a medical issue anyway. So I was late and my apologies. But the good news is with these, I can sneak in late without having to, open the door and make noise or anything.
There you go.
But like I said, I hope to see everybody there. It should be fun. We always have fun, and we can do it once a month and different topics, and maybe we'll all learn a little bit.
Well, thank you. Are there any other questions related to notifications? Okay, I want you to know there.
Actually, yes, Peter, I do have one question. And
Okay.
that is, I have a friend who on her iPhone always turns off iMessage because she says there are some kind of incompatibilities with communicating with some other people. I don't know if that's true or not, but she seemed to indicate that if iMessage is off, you don't get notifications. I'm not sure that is true, is it? That's my question. Because I thought that that unclicking iMessage just means you'll be getting regular SMS messages, not all the bells and whistles of iMessage.
I've never heard that. I'm not sure I understood what you were saying. She turns it off because she doesn't want to get notifications, or?
No, she turns it off because she says that there are some kind of compatibility issues with communicating with people that are not on iOS.
Nah.
Friend.
I don't think that's the case.
I don't, if we're voting, I'll vote no.
Yeah, maybe it's the color of the text or something. It's not green, it's blue.
Good question.
Oh, maybe it's the color of the phone.
Anyhow, we've done 2 videos. There are 3 left, but I want you to know that the duration of all 3 together is less than either of the ones you just saw. So we're getting through this quickly. So moving on to the next video. It's from Apple Support. It's 5 useful tips for using your iPhone and Mac together. And with continuity features, there's a way your iPhone can really help with your work on the Mac. So let's check this out.
With Continuity, you can share items, scan documents, and more across your devices. Here are some helpful tips for using your iPhone and Mac together. Before you start, make sure your iPhone and Mac are using the latest software and you're signed in with the same Apple ID and have handoff turned on for both devices. You should also have Bluetooth enabled and Wi-Fi turned on, though your devices don't have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. Ready? Let's get productive. With Universal Clipboard, you can copy content such as text, images, photos, and videos on your iPhone, and then paste the content on your Mac. Let's use live text to copy from a photo. On your iPhone, using a photo that contains text, touch and hold a word, and drag the handles to select what you want to copy. Then, when the menu appears, tap Copy, and on your Mac, just paste it into a supported document. Adding this to our list of things to do. When you turn on a focus, it syncs across all of your devices signed into iCloud, including your Mac. In Control Center on your iPhone, tap Focus, and then select the focus you want to use. This will automatically turn the same focus on for your Mac, where you'll get a notification confirming that it's on. And the focus icon will appear in the status bar. You can also select a focus on your Mac, and it will automatically sync on your iPhone. Now we're focused on this report. With AirDrop, you can quickly send photos, videos, documents, and more between your iPhone and Mac. We're going to send some photos. On your iPhone, select the items you want to share, and tap the Share button. Then tap AirDrop, and tap your Mac under My Devices. AirDrop will send the items to your Mac, and they'll automatically appear in the Downloads folder. These will be great in our report. You can scan a form or document in a compatible app like Notes or Mail using your nearby iPhone, and it will appear instantly on your Mac, right where you need it. In the space you want the scan to appear on your Mac, Control-click to bring up the menu, and click Scan Documents. The camera app on your iPhone will open. Just hold the rear camera over the document to automatically start scanning. Tap Save when you're done, and it will appear in the space you selected on your Mac. Signed and ready to send. You can add your favorite iPhone widgets to the desktop on your Mac. Just Control-click your desktop. Click Edit Widgets, and select the app you want to use from the sidebar in the widget gallery. If a widget is not from an app on your Mac, it will show From iPhone in the upper right corner of the gallery. Just drag the widget to your desktop and then click Done in the widget gallery. Perfect time for tide pooling. Now you know a few continuity tips to help you get more done on your Mac, with a little help from your iPhone. For more helpful tips, subscribe to the Apple Support YouTube channel, or click another video to keep watching.
How do you turn on handoff on both devices? How do you turn that on?
I'm going to defer to one of our other experts here. Anybody able to answer that question?
Was that part of the video or was that a question?
It was a question related to that video. It said to have
Oh.
handoff turned on in both devices.
Let me find it.
So in Mac system settings, if you type handoff in the search bar, it'll show you AirDrop and handoff is where you do it.
Okay.
And there's a
System
check
settings.
and there's a slider for allow handoff between Mac and your iCloud devices. And I'm guessing on the iPhone it's the same.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, it's under on the you go to Settings, General, AirPlay, and Handoff.
Okay.
Your voice sounded just about like the gal on the video.
Oh, it did. That's great.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
I-
good or bad, Rick, but I'll accept it.
I was thinking, what a pleasant voice. And I was wondering whether it's synthetic or not.
Oh, how interesting.
That
What a
Apple
trip.
tutorial female voice. I think it's a real person. I don't think it's synthetic.
Oh, that's great.
It's,
I'll have to go to
it
a radio
sounded-
station, see if I can find a
Sounded
job at a
AI
radio.
to me.
Sounded like AI to you?
Oh, that's funny.
Welcome.
Yeah, voice actors have actually been on the scene for decades and decades. We once hired a professional voice actor to help with a video we were making. But in today's world, perhaps you can just have the computer be your voice actor.
the New York Times and Washington Post have already gone to synthetic readers, and they're just not as compelling or easy to focus on. And I'm wondering if what Audible is eventually going to do the same. Hopefully, not anytime soon.
I want to ask a question regarding just curiosity. Regarding taking widgets from the phone to the Mac, is that because you can't get certain widgets on a Mac and you can on the phone, or
It's because they haven't made a Mac widget for it, but you can still use the iOS
iPhone?
widget. But I think it still depends on when you do that, it still depends on it's working with the iOS app as opposed to a Mac app.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, let's
Whoa, go ahead. I have another question, not this stuff, but later.
okay.
Jan had one there too, I see.
We will have questions and answers and afterward.
Jan might have been asking about this though. Were you? You're
Jan,
muted.
you have a question?
I'm muted. Okay. I took a picture on the phone. I turned on the settings on both the phone and the computer, but I took a picture on the phone, and then how do I see it on the computer?
It's automatic as long as you have iCloud photo syncing turned on both devices and you're logged into the same Apple ID.
Well, it didn't show up in the library. Where would I find it?
Give it a couple of seconds.
It's had more than that.
Did you press the share button?
No, you don't have to share. It should be plug. Sometimes you have to plug it into power. Plug it into
Yeah,
power
I've
and
had that happen.
open the Photos app, and then you'll see down at the bottom will say syncing.
Jan, if you want it quickly into your downloads folder, just airdrop it from the phone to the Mac.
Right. I was just trying this business. All right, I'll put power on. Okay.
Good question. I didn't think of that. You have to have power on, really?
No, no, you don't.
Yeah, I didn't think so, because when I was in a different country taking pictures, by the time I came home, they were all on my Mac. So
yeah,
but with photos, that's a different process. If you just waiting for it to appear in your Photos app, that depends on iCloud syncing, which is a different thing than AirDrop. So I'll often take a picture with my iPhone and it won't show up in my Photos app for a while. So I want to use it now, so I'll just AirDrop it.
I second that.
Eventually, it'll still show up in the Photos library, but later.
Yeah, because even when you screenshot, say your iPad, it'll go to your phone, but sometimes your Mac, it doesn't really, sometimes you just gotta wait.
Yeah. I wish iCloud Photos had a thing where you could say sync now, but they don't. It syncs when it feels like it.
But I'm going to take that, what I said, I'll take that back, because I think I was plugged into power when I was taking those pictures, even someplace else. So John's right. I think I had a battery, a portable battery with me. I was plugged into power.
Okay, well, let's if we want to talk more about this one, let's save it for the question and answer period and move on to the next video, which don't blink because it's 25 seconds long, but it's going to show you how to adjust your flashlight on your iPhone, which maybe lots of you know, but I didn't know this one. So let's go ahead and have a quick look.
Just later.
Get more light when you need it. Here's how to adjust the flashlight on your iPhone. Open Control Center. Touch and hold the flashlight. Slide up or down to adjust the brightness. Swipe, touch and hold, adjust.
I missed that. Could you repeat it, please?
There seems to be 4 settings. It's click stop.
Yeah, but what was the ghost about?
The ghost was the illumination. Peter, you're muted.
I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. I think the ghost was just something showing up when the flashlight came on, but I didn't really realize it was so easy to make the flashlight bright or dim it down. You don't always need it at full brightness. So
The watch also does that.
Mhm.
The flashlight on the watch.
Right. And the iPad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So good stuff.
There's
Any
another
other
solution.
comments? Okay. I have one other video. I'm including this one. It's an old video. Actually, it's from 2019, but it's an issue that hit me during the past week. My wife and I were driving back from the gym. She was talking on her phone to a friend who had an emergency SOS show up on her phone. And I mentioned emergency or something, and I look at my Apple Watch and suddenly I'm seeing it timing down 10, 9, 8. And I think, oh my goodness, how do I turn this off? And I didn't know how to stop the alert or the emergency call. So anyway, let's have a look at this one.
Get more light when you need it.
Sorry about that.
The operator just kept saying hello, hello, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it off.
Lee Grossman learned the hard way where the emergency SOS button was on his Apple Watch when he accidentally called 911.
I reached for some change in my pocket, and all of a sudden my arm started like vibrating, and I heard some noises. So I turn and I look at my watch, and I'm like seeing 911 on there. So I'm like trying to turn it off, and then I realized that there wasn't an off, so I just put the watch to my face and I said, I'm so sorry, that happened accidentally.
Grossman, an employee of CBS 2, considers himself tech savvy, but says just one mistap of a button can activate this menu that calls SOS. Experts say missed calls to 911 aren't new across all brands of smart devices, but what is new is a so-called falling function on the latest edition of Apple Watches that is automatically installed for people registered as over 65.
The Apple Watch has a feature where if you fall and you are motionless for a minute, then it will initiate outreach to 911 and emergency contacts.
Your emergency contacts will get an alarming text like this. Emergency SOS, your mother called emergency services from this location.
I get that this could be a safety measure, but I was just a little concerned for the dispatchers that they're wasting time talking to me because my watch accidentally called them, and that could be taking away from an emergency.
The NYPD says they cannot track whether accidental calls come from phones, landlines, or watches, or if the incidents are on the rise. But many cities have reported being flooded with false emergency calls due to new technology. If you don't want the feature, all you need to do is turn it off in your watch or iPhone settings. Most importantly, experts say, is to stay smarter than your devices.
Go into the phone settings and spend a few minutes a day testing out the various features and how you can turn features on and off.
Srinivasan says the last thing you want is for flashing lights to show up at your home or work uncalled for. In Manhattan, Natalie Dudridge, CBS 2 News.
And there you are.
Wait, so is there a button on the watch to turn it
Right.
on?
They didn't tell you how to turn it off.
How do you turn it on? Turn it off? I missed it.
In that particular video, they were telling you how to turn the entire function off, so it wouldn't be available. But it's one I'm reluctant to experiment with it because I don't want to make an emergency call accidentally.
Right.
I just did. To trigger it, oh, wait a second.
Push the stem, right?
No.
No, you push the side button, not the stem.
Oh, okay.
To trigger it, but I just, and then it brings up a menu where you have choice of bring up your medical ID, or one of them is called, SOS. There's a slider. You have to slide it to activate it. And then you get a calling 911 thing. And there's a red phone icon at the bottom, just like with a phone call. You press that to stop the phone call. But it still went ahead, and after I did that just now, it still went ahead and said notifying emergency contacts.
When I turn it off, we can hear the sirens in the background.
Yeah, well, there's a little siren that comes on, as a matter of fact. But when I've taken a fall, I took a fall once on my bicycle, and another time I tripped over a rug in the house and really fell hard. And the watch came on, and it said, "It looks like you fell."
Yeah.
And it said, "Did you fall?" Yes. Are you okay? Yes. And so then it doesn't call. But then if you don't get to it fast enough, it starts doing a countdown. But you can stop it by just tapping the screen.
So when it's going 10, 9, 8, if you tap the screen, it will stop it?
Yeah, that happened to me, but it was some time ago. But
Do
yeah.
you tap the screen or that little button?
Well, I guess you can also tap the side button too, but I think I tapped the screen.
Because I know
Rick, when you say you tapped the screen, what did you tap?
The screen.
The whole screen?
Anywhere, you mean?
The watch screen.
Yeah, but you tap anywhere, or there's a dismiss button?
Then it popped up and said,
okay,
something like, do you want to cancel, or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was looking online to see if there was a video that was very clearly showed what to do in order to just, turn off an accidentally initiated emergency call. And I wasn't able to find one. I found several that were showing how to turn off the feature. So it just didn't work. But I don't, in our demographic, I don't think that's a good idea. So yeah, it would be nice to have a real clear understanding of how you abort that call going through.
So I've got another question. How does Apple know what my emergency contacts are?
You put them in the phone.
You have to specify them as an emergency in the contacts app.
Right.
Each person you want to have, you have to say, "This is an emergency contact. The person should be contacted if the ambulance comes and opens up an emergency. They can see your emergency contacts, and those are the people that calls when you fall."
Go into the
I don't think it calls them. I think it sends them a notification that you have made an SOS call from this location.
Can we stop sharing the screen?
Okay.
Also, Kenji, I hope that you've used the medical history thing on your phone. When I was in the hospital in Germany, the first thing the doctor said to me was, "Can I see your phone?" And he went in and he tapped health under the little button at the upper right corner of the health thing. And of course, I've got all my medical history on there back to 1938 when I had my appendix out. And it was a great help for them. They just made complete use of it.
How did you enter that? Is that from my chart, or did you manually enter stuff?
I manually entered it years ago.
I've got all my scripts and everything in there. My drugs.
It's in your health. You have to fill out the information.
I've got all my daily drugs as well.
Yeah. Emergency contacts, drugs, everything's in there.
And every ambulance driver knows to look for that.
When our friend got that fall thing, actually what happened was she was on a pickleball court. And she said she didn't really fall, but it evidently triggered it. So my wife and I were both emergency contacts, and we got notification that there was a possible fall, and it gave the the coordinates of where the fall happened.
Maybe she shouldn't be wearing her watch when she's playing pickleball.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
mine went off driving
pickleball when
nails
she's
one
wearing her
time.
watch.
Yeah. So, it's new technology and we're kind of bumbling along learning how to use it. But yeah, it's good stuff. I think all of us should figure it out. I just realized in that experience that I didn't know how to abort an SOS call, and that was unsettling.
So I just Googled, how do I search my contact to see if what my emergency contacts, and Apple support page says, open the health app and type your profile picture, tap medical ID, tap edit, then scroll to emergency contacts.
Right.
Yeah.
If you drop your watch, will it trigger the fall?
It could.
No,
It's
the
not
watch,
attached to your body, no.
it's not
I don't think it
attached.
will.
Yeah.
You throw it against the wall, it won't do it. You have to be on your arm.
Okay.
Oh. If you look in your contacts, your emergency will have a red, if they're designated, will have a red star next to it.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
I
Well,
found a
there-
lot of people don't do the medical thing.
No.
Well, it is officially time for questions and answers. Q&A.
Okay, so we'll go on to general Q&A. I'll stop the recording and say bye-bye to the YouTubers. And DVMUG members can see the general Q&A with a link on the BBS. So we'll start a new recording.